So again, my friends, welcome to the chocolate tour today. As I said before, my name is Dexter, and I'm born and raised here in Puerto Viejo. We met Paul from Caribeans. Caribeans Coffee Shop is how the tour began around here. Caribeans is owned by Paul and his wife Jean. They're from the United States, from Minnesota, and they came here to Puerto Viejo 17 years ago. Both of them really like coffee, and they thought it would be a good idea to begin a coffee shop, but they had no idea about coffee. And 13 years ago is when they began with Caribeans Coffee Shop. That you saw today. Along with the coffee drink they used to make, one of their favorite drinks is the mochaccino. You know the mochaccino drink? Yeah? That mix of chocolate, coffee, and milk. Around here in the Caribbean coast was highly known for the cacao. This was pretty much like the cacao country, the cacao area. Costa Rica in the 1950s and 1960s was one of the top countries exporting cacao beans in the world. And all of it was coming mostly from the Caribbean coast. So it actually can only grow 20 degrees south of the equator and 20 degrees north of the equator. It's originally from South America. Cacao began in the Amazon basins in South America, and different indigenous tribes went all the way to south of Mexico with cacao. And it was going from south to north all the time, traveling. This is because this indigenous civilization, they used to use cacao like a currency or like a trade way. So it used to be exchanged a lot for gold all the time in indigenous civilization. But here, my friends, this is the cacao tree we're going to see and talk about today. So this one right here in the front with you, this is the cacao, as we commonly know it. So that's the origin of chocolate. Originally, a cacao tree like this, they can grow naturally about 60 feet tall. So in the tropics or down in the Amazon, they can grow huge. Yeah. But after it got domesticated by the indigenous civilization, this tree can grow about 25 feet tall today. So as big as this anything.
About that guy.
Yeah. Right there you can see along the branches of the tree and the trunk of the tree, there's all those cacao fruit we call, or cacao pods. Okay. Inside each one of the fruits, there is some seeds inside of them. And there can be more or less 50 to 60 seeds inside each one of the fruits over here. The fruit grows anywhere, on the branches or on the main trunk of the tree as well. Right? Any one of you have an idea what is the color, which color of the fruit is ready or ripe to be harvested?
Orange.
Orange? Close, yes.
Okay.
If that's one of them. Any other idea?
Yeah, I was thinking like that. Those dark ones look like they're ready.
The dark ones, the black ones?
Yeah.
Black ones? Anything else? No? So the orange ones, orange or yellow, sometimes kind of reddish.
Yeah.
These are when they're ready and you can harvest and begin to eat them. The green ones, if you see any green color fruit on the tree, they're too young at the moment to be harvested. Still too early. And the dark ones on the tree, or the black ones, those are no good anymore.
Too long.
Yeah, they're too long there. Most of them though, they suffer from the disease of Monelia. The disease is still around the country. There is no cure for the disease. It just keeps spreading. So what the disease does, it rottens the fruit completely and it turns black. But then it's no good. The seeds are completely gone. So the black ones are no good. In the back there, my friends, you can see there's more cacao trees everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
This is because it used to be a cacao farm back in the days, but people abandon it now. So they just
there.
This farm is about 100 years old. The trees that they have around. When Paul first came into the property to take care of it, he didn't know much about cacao trees. He didn't know what to do or how to take care of it. He tried for a little bit, but he needed to hire people that is capable of restoring the cacao farm and who knows about cacao. Part of what they wanted to do when they opened a coffee shop was to create some opportunities and work for local people around as well. So they went to town and searched for some people that would be capable of restoring the cacao farm. And the best people who restore cacao farm or knows about cacao is the indigenous people. They know about cacao for 4,000 years ago or more. So he hired a couple of the guys. There was 4 guys actually that got started. Today we only have 2 guys taking care of the farm around. In an ideal cacao farm to have healthy trees, you need a balance. Because the disease is around, but there is no cure for the disease. So you need to have a balance of 50% shade and 60% sun. So for example, if you look right here, front of you behind you, the mountain on the floor, we keep it always low. The difference is on the bottom part of the hill, you see everything was growing everywhere. Here you have to keep it low. If you make it grow too much, it keeps a lot of humidity. And this is what the fungus will start to propagate more in the humidity. So you have to always keep it very, very low. The bases of the tree, we have to clean them as well. We don't want to have all those babies growing from it. You have to clean it. And then the canopy, for the tall trees, we're going to leave them there because they're going to provide shade to the cacao trees in the bottom. So just like this, we create a 50% shade and 50% sun. And like this is a completely organic farm. There is no pesticides, no chemicals used for the trees around whatsoever. Just like this is completely natural. Right now you don't see much fruits onto the trees, but very soon they're starting to have more flowers slowly. So we're going to continue going this way. Take a look. Let's pass it around.
That's a good one.
That's heavy. How do you think you open it?
Crack it in half.
Mash it on the ground. No.
Right here.
Yeah, you just
Cut it in half.
Yeah.
crack it on rock.
Get a pointy one.
Really neat. It's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
We have good fruit, huh? The first people who ever discovered it to eat it was probably they learned it from the animals.
There you go. See.
There's a few animals that like it a lot, like squirrels. They love the fruit when it's ripe. And we have agoutis, like a rodent that goes around the ground. The parrots, they like it a lot as well because when it's yellow, it have a kind of like a little aroma, but when it's yellow, it's ripe. And the animals, they notice and they break inside and they take the seeds out. And the seed is very similar like the biriba, except it has a little bit less of the texture, right? And the animals, they chew on the pulp, and then they throw the bean away in the jungle. So they like it a lot when it's ripe and ready. You can see it's really thick, the stem of the fruit here. The fruit can grow anywhere around on the tree. It can grow on the main trunk of the tree or on the branches of the tree. But the fruit, when it's yellow, it will never fall from the tree. It does not fall. So it's not like another type of fruit trees. It's not like the biriba. The biriba, when they're ripe, eventually they fall down. The cacao, they don't. You have to pick it off the tree all the time. So to pick it off the tree, we have this skinny stick behind you.
Oh, wow. That's long.
Oh, yeah, you get your own hook there.
Yep. You can see all the way at the top of that hook. The blade is really sharp, so you can cut the fruit off and drop from the tree. That's how we get it around here. So that's how the guys will get it around. Alright. Any questions so far with the cacao?
No.
Good. So we're going to experience a little bit of what we have here. So I'm going to use a machete today. And you can see it's really hard. You gotta use something sharp. So to get it open, cut it out.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, huh? So this is chocolate right here, my friend, so you can take a photo. Cool. So now you're also going to try. What we're going to do here is going to try to go. Try to grab one of them nice and easy there. It's a little bit slimy, so grab it hard. You pass it around and you put it in the mouth. Pretty good. It's completely edible. The bean is full of antioxidants. That's why it has a purple bitter color, or bitter taste and purple color.
why the guy bought the place.
No kidding.
You get chocolate and you get a view. Look at that.
Once more. Much more.
Wow.
Nice, huh? What we do here is kind of like a high quality. People sometimes like to refer to it, or Paul refer to it sometimes as the gourmet chocolate. Making a high quality chocolate like they do anywhere else in the world, like in Europe, for example, or around. We can make chocolate in a very simple way, like drying it in the sun, roasting the beans in the pot with fire, and then grinding it down, and you have a cacao paste. But this is pretty much the only thing you're gonna have from that batch, or what you do there. But to directly influence the taste of the chocolate, the aroma, the flavors, all of those different factors around, to do this, it goes through a couple of processes. One of the first processes is fermentation process, drying process, and then roasting process. All these processes influence directly the taste of the chocolate you're gonna have later on. And depends on what you do or what each farmer they do with the cacao beans on their farm, is gonna have their own special taste and signature and whatever you want to call it. So it's very similar like wine.
Yeah, how you
Whatever.
prepare your grapes. Yeah.
So first step is to ferment the beans. So if you want to come over here with me, show you where we go with fermentation. Or you can come in the back here as well. So the fermentation process where it develops is over here. So what we do at the fermentation, these boxes we have here, we can leave it with the wood boxes. Around the farm we collect some leaves, they're like banana leaf, but they're more resistant, they're completely different. And we can put in the walls of the box as well.
Okay.
And we'll collect all the ripe fruit around the farm when it's the high season and there are lots of fruit. We collect them all and we bring them here. More or less 2,000 fruit per box, or 3,000. More or less.
Wow. So you put the whole fruit or just a seed?
Just the seeds. So what we do when it's covered with a leaf inside or the wood, we cut the fruit open like I did now and take all the seeds out and collect all the seeds inside here with the pulp. Only this. So all the seeds is collected inside. Once it gets filled up, we're gonna begin to close it inside there. And when it's closed with the same leaf, we leave it closed for one entire day. We don't touch it. Sometimes 2 days, but usually 1 day we leave it and we don't touch it at all. What starts to happen is that the sugar in the pulp will begin to ferment. So it starts to get warm. So it begins to get really, really warm in the bottom of the box inside here because of the sugar is sitting down in the bottom more. So after 1 day, we're gonna come and we open the batch and we mix all the beans together to release a little heat, but also for all the beans to ferment the same way. Not one part more than the other side. All have to ferment the same. But yeah, the most incredible thing of this process is that we don't have to add any additional or artificial flavors. We don't put anything. We don't put orange. We don't put nothing whatsoever. Just the cacao beans. When it starts to ferment, it starts to develop flavors. So this is the first step to influence directly the taste of the chocolate we're gonna have later on. Whatever they leave it inside here, the farmer, maybe some farmer think it can go. This process can go from 1 to 10 days. But whatever the farmer think is the best quality of chocolate or the best taste that he's gonna have, he's gonna leave it for whatever he thinks.
Right.
So some farmer leave it for 5 days, some will leave it for 7 days, 8 days, or 10 days. And whatever they leave it there is influenced directly the taste of the chocolate we're gonna have later at the very end. All right. But yes,
That's peaceful web home.
pretty incredible process that happens along. We don't have to add anything because everything is added naturally. The sugar is there. There's yeast in the environment, in the air. There's microbacteria and yeast and all these different things that get added inside with the air. So all we do is close it and everything starts fermenting and do their own chemistry inside there. Yeah. So after whatever day they leave it inside here, we take the beans out. The beans is still gonna come out with a little bit of the pulp, but it's less, like it's kind of dry, so it turns kind of brown color. And there is still some moisture in the bean, so we need to get it dry. We need to slow dry the bean inside the greenhouse here to get rid of most of the moisture, because if you leave too much moisture or water, it gets moldy, and then your chocolate is no good anymore. So you have to slow dry. So we'll lay them out over here. This is just a little sample back for you guys, so you can take one of the beans and then you come out. You take one bean and then you come over. But pretty much just a little bit of what we do.
I'll need to be in there now. That's
Mm-hmm.
You gotta crack it and peel it like this. Alright, so after we have the cacao beans fermented and dry, bring them here to the chocolate factory. Here we have the coffee roaster. They're the first coffee roaster that had since they got started, 13 years old. So it still works very well. It's propane gas and it's also manual. So we have to light them up if we want to turn them on and then just turn on the switch here. We like to call it Frank because it looks like Frankenstein a little bit. We call it Frank. But whenever we're ready with the cacao beans, we bring them over, we open Frank's head, we pour the cacao beans inside here, turn them on. And it will be roasting the cacao beans for about 45 minutes. And it's going to be under 125 degrees Celsius. This is about 250 Fahrenheit. Here we can see everything's working good and spinning. Then we pick one of the eye out. And there's a sample bean that will come over here. The sample bean, the lady that would try the bean to see how close it's getting to be roasted. Because here is it's actually one of the most important because I'm at the end as well. And you don't want to burn the beans. If you do burn the beans, your chocolate is gone.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because you're destroying all the flavor. Once it's ready, we open them out, and here we have the cacao beans coming out. Then from there we have here the roasted cacao beans already. So you can take one of them, you can squeeze and you see it break really quickly. You can also smell it, you get more of the aroma right there. So, the main ingredient we need for making chocolate, my friends, is going to be the cacao beans or the cacao nibs. Inside, we don't need the shells. Inside part is what we need for the chocolate. Have you ever heard that there is caffeine inside chocolate? Yeah? So the caffeine that you can find in the chocolate is actually presented in the shells. That's where you can find caffeine. And sometimes, or some factories, they add the shells inside their batch of the coffee.
Oh yeah.
So this can make it a kind of caffeine taste. The cacao nibs, or the bean inside itself, does not have any caffeine. You have a substance or a compound that is called theobromine. The theobromine is a natural stimulant for humans as well, but it's influenced in a different way. Coffee, they say sometimes it kind of like close the blood vessels. The theobromine, it dilates the blood vessels, so there's more rush of blood throughout the body. That's why sometimes people, when they drink a lot of chocolate, the real raw one, they feel like they're a little bit high, sometimes content or so on, because of the theobromine that being inside the So the next part is to try to separate the shells. So we have a cacao grinder, which is going to break it down into smaller pieces.
Is it separating them?
So then what we have here is all mixed together, the nibs and the shells.
And the shells.
Yep.
Okay.
Everything is mixed.
Wow.
You can see, get all the shells, right? Like I said, we have to get rid of the shells.
So then,
So then the next step is to have a really good skill and just throw it in the air, like this, more or less. Indigenous people have better skill, and that works really good with them. When the wind is blowing, it blows away all the shells. And we have left over only the cacao nibs. We still need to practice a little bit more here.
Yeah.
So instead, Paul decided to make, kind of find a new use for the vacuum cleaner.
Ingenuity, right? Yeah.
jungle technology.
They work a little bit, so here we go. After going through the vacuum cleaner a couple of times, then we have here, shells are picked out.
Wow.
We have the cacao nib inside.
Well done. Yeah.
Right?
That was awesome.
Now, just with the cacao nibs over here, now we're ready for making chocolate. So the next step is, if you guys turn around and face the other way, Alright, my friends, take a look. Right there. Thank you.
She already told you what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I turn it off? Alright, my friends, so it's gonna be a little test for you guys, a little trivia time. What do you guys think? What do you think we add inside here to make it liquid? Or there is anything added inside to make it liquid?
Nope.
Coconut oil.
Nothing? Coconut oil? Yeah, good one. Nothing. Nothing at all whatsoever. No coconut oil, no extra oil goes inside. As making it artisanal and so, we're trying to make it as organic as we can as well. So we don't have to add anything extra to the batch inside. We just add the cacao nibs inside and whatever ingredient we want to make the chocolate bar to be. Okay, if we want to add sugar, we can add sugar now, whatever it is. But nothing liquid. If we add any other oils or liquids inside like water or milk, this is going to begin to separate or make a really weird mix. Because the cacao bean itself already have the cacao butter inside, we don't have to add anything later. So we just turn on the machine, we don't add any heat either, but these two rock rollers on the side and the bottom, there's a big one. We turn it on, we pour inside the cacao nibs. This machine would be on for 3 days spinning in circle the entire time. After a couple hours, the rocks, they start to create friction. Friction creates heat, and then it just starts to melt the cacao butter down. And after 3 days, we have that really perfect liquid consistency of chocolate that we're looking for. At the moment, it's a little bit thick because it has what, 1 day?
They're just putting it, they just put it in.
Today. So it's just been added inside. It's gonna be your first sample of the day as well. This one is extra sweet though, because it's a batch that we
Sweetest
make.
one.
Oh yeah.
35% cacao.
Oh,
So it's not much cacao at all.
it's mostly sweet.
It's for milk chocolate, 35% cacao and sugar.
Chocolate.
We'll see how you like it.
Yeah. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Oh my god, this is incredible. I can't do this.
The milk we add inside has to be powdered milk as well.
I've been told there's 2 other chocolate frozen
There's
in
anything inside it or
this
no?
country.
Yo, I don't think there is yet. Angelica, todavía no tiene la leche, ¿verdad? No. There's no milk yet, so
No
it's
milk
not
inside.
finished.
Just
It's
sugar?
added
Cacao
ingredients.
and a little extra cacao butter.
Sure.
Yeah, they still
Thank you.
add a little bit more
Gracias.
Oh, you guys got it?
Here, I would take those.
But you add sugar?
Oh, you can
That-
taste
that
the
one
grit.
has sugar
Yeah.
still. That's the crunch chocolate. The nibs is the nibs and the sugar.
Wow.
So that's why it has 3 days when it gets refined down and smooth.
Wow.
Like just sugar.
That is sweet.
I love it.
Yeah.
And if you guys just come over here to your right hand side, we can see. So for the tempering process manually, my friends, for right here in the shop, this is the same way we do it today as well, or the ladies out there, they do it. We need to get a couple plastic bowls like these. So 1, 2 over here on the side, a big aluminum pot like this that we have here as well. In the first bowl, we're gonna have cold water. Second bowl, warm water. We need to cool it down and warm it back up. So cold water, warm water. 2 high-tech equipment. Thermometer, spatula. We pretend the chocolate's coming from the machine there, and we pour it inside the first, in the pot in the first bowl with the cold water. Then we add the thermometer inside and we start to move it around in circles like this, non-stop, just keep moving it. The temperature of the first machine over there is 115 degrees Fahrenheit. This is 46 degrees Celsius. In the cold water, it needs to go down to 29 degrees Celsius or 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So we have to move the whole time. Once it hit 85 or 29, switch from cold water to warm water. Now, add the thermometer inside and we start to move around again. Now we need to go from 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 29 Celsius Warm water needs to go up to 32 Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Move it the whole time. Once it hit 90 or 32, it means that it's tempered, and at this moment we can put it inside the cold room. So Paul get a better mold for the chocolate bars, just with this equipment here. They take it and grab it and just pour it inside the mold. Usually with a spatula just like this, straight out. And at the very end they shake it to get the bubbles out. So it's shake and move a lot. Bubbles out. Goes inside the cold room, which is 65 degrees Fahrenheit more or less, 16 degrees Celsius. And after 45 minutes or 1 hour, voila, chocolate bars made by Caribeans. That moment was
Caribeans chocolate tour. Highly, highly, highly recommend. That was awesome. We got to see so much wildlife and things on our way up there, the whole process, how they grow, like collect everything with all the chocolate. That was so cool.
Here are all the prices as well for you guys to see. Coffee, cacao beans over there, cacao nibs. You guys have a 10% discount now because you did the tour. So anytime you come back to the shop for breakfast, lunch, whatever you buy, you just mention that you've been on the tour before you have your Thank you very much, you guys. Have a very nice day.
You too. Thank you very much.
Okay.